Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. Today I am with Honda's 1980 CB900 Custom, and this is Test Drive Part 2. The last time I tried to do a test drive video, I didn't even get to start talking before the bike started running kind of crappy. And it's simply because I had used the original igniters from this bike on another project to see if I could get that one running while I was waiting on new parts. When the new parts came in, I installed them on this one, and before I even got to talk on the video, one of the igniter units failed. So I've got new ones on order. In the meantime, I have put the originals back into this bike, and we're going to go test drive it now, and I'm sure this thing will get us where we're going and back again. So let's ride.
Today I am once again test driving Honda's 1980 CB900 Custom, and this is a recent purchase. I have been just doing a little bit of work on this bike, but I bought it as a runner, and I had swapped out some parts on it on the first test drive that I attempted to show you, and I had one of the new parts actually fail. So I've got another one on order. In the meantime, I put the original parts back in this bike, and man, this thing just runs like a top. Now, I bought this bike, as I've mentioned earlier, when you're buying a vintage machine, really 9 times out of 10 it pays to buy a bike that already runs, and not only does it run, but it runs well. And so this bike has, I actually was able to ride it before I bought it, and I realized that, you know, the systems still need to be gone over and checked, but I was able to check the charging system, make sure it was charging as it should be. I was able to, the carburation is really nice. It carburetes flawlessly, and even on a cold day like today, it's about in the mid-50s currently. But even on a cold day like today, this bike just runs really, really nice. I can see my speedometer's being a little bit jumpy there, and what I'll do is I'll make sure that the speedometer cable is lubricated, and just check that over. But it shifts. I've shifted the transmission from low range to high range. That functions as it should. It is handling nicely. The ride is very nice. It's on par with my other CB900 Custom motorcycles. Yeah, this one's just in really nice working order. I really like the styling on the CB900 Custom. I think it's just a beautiful bike. I've got 3 of them now, like I said earlier, and I may go ahead and put a little bit sportier bars on one of the bikes, just for fun. I like a little bit lower bar. I'm a tall guy, and while these bars are the best stock bars of the big bore cruisers from the early 80s, they're still not my preferred handlebars. They're still a little bit close to me. Yeah, what a nice ride. Very, very smooth. All of my CB900s are just, it's one of the smoothest 4-cylinders you'll ever want to ride. And they really do run nicely and hold a tune and everything else once they're set up properly. This bike sounds nice. It's got the Mac 4-into-1 exhaust on it, and it's actually, the previous owner installed the 4-into-1 pipe, and even on the baffle on this bike, it actually has 4 holes where the baffle was drilled out even further, just to give it a little bit more volume, a little bit more sound. So it sounds nice. This particular pipe is not very loud when you're cruising, which actually can be a nice nice feature if you're, you know, going down through a neighborhood or something. It's not rip-snortingly loud. It quiets down quite a bit when you're off throttle. But I like the fact that when I do get on the throttle, it does sound like a nice 4-cylinder with a pipe. Clutch pull on this bike is easy. The transmission shifts nicely. It's easy shifting. It's not nearly as short throw as the Suzukis are, and the Suzukis are honestly kind of best in class as far as the shifters go. These CB900 Customs really have a magic carpet ride. They really do soak up the bumps nicely. And what's really odd to me on these particular bikes, these were kind of a parts bin special where they took, you know, their CB900 Super Sport motor and they put it in a chassis and ended up using the Goldwing shaft drive, which meant they had to put a transfer case on it. But just so many components were shared with so many other bikes, and yet amazingly it all comes together in just a really well sorted package. And while this isn't probably ultimately the best handling of the vintage cruiser bikes, it is the best, just the most refined suspension and well sorted suspension right out of the box of all of the vintage cruisers, and even some of the bigger, like the GT bikes. It has better suspension and better control than a lot of them do.
All right, well, that was great. The test drive went very well. As I mentioned, the previous test drive only went bad because I had new parts on the bike that actually, I had used the igniters from this bike to work on another project, and when the new parts came in, the new igniters, I just put them on this bike, and one of them failed right away. So after putting the original igniters back in this bike, it runs great, and was able to do a successful test drive. I've already adjusted my throttle, so I've got minimal play here. I've also greased this pivot point since coming back from the test drive, and that'll just make a world of difference. I will continue to go through the bike, but really, man, this thing is cooperating tremendously well, and it's nice to have this going along so well. And that's especially the case when I've got some other projects that are, you know, kind of fighting me a little bit along the way. But I will keep you posted on this. We'll go through, I'll probably do a video of me changing the fluids in the bike, the oil, the transmission fluid, and the fluid in the rear. And you know, we'll get this to 100%, but man, it's not far off now. It's probably 90% right now. You know, I just want to go through and make sure everything is 100%. And this is just going to be a tremendously nice daily rider. You know, every time I go to fire it up, it just fires up right away. It's not cold-blooded. It's already set up carb-wise. And that just, it makes it a pleasure to, you know, just go out and ride. You know, to get on and enjoy. There's not little things about it that bother me. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it entertaining and informative. And until next time, enjoy the ride.